podcast. Today we are featuring our special guest, Mochi. I don't really have a script or anything written down for this, so we're just gonna kind of go for it. I'm so excited about this new series that we'll be adding to the channel. If you don't know, my ASMR journey started off on TikTok, but with everything that is going on, I want to kind of dip my feet in the water of YouTube. I hope you guys are as excited as I am for this new series. I have many ideas for this new series, and I want to involve you guys as well. So, if you're not already, you should follow my Instagram because I would love to hear from you guys. I also want to do polls on my stories and stuff. And yeah, I just want to get your guys' thoughts and opinions on, different topics and ideas of what we can do and talk about on this new podcast. So this first episode is just sort of the introduction of the Pixie podcast, and I have many different ideas of different things that we could do. I want to do get ready with me chats, possibly special guests. I don't know. There's so many different things that we could do with this, and I'm just super excited. I just want this to be a safe place for you to come and relax, and there's always going to be something that you can take from this, whether it's just relaxation or if I can share some of my insights with you through my personal experiences, the knowledge that I've gained. And yeah, I just love to chat. I love to yap. Hopefully you can, learn and get inspired, gain some insight. And yeah, I would love for you guys to let me know of anything you'd like to see from me on this channel and with this podcast. Oh gosh, the technical difficulties that I be having are just... I just filmed 10 minutes. The last 10 minutes that I just filmed got deleted, magically disappeared, so I don't even know what I just said. But I'm gonna just say what I want to say, and that's that. I just feel like there's so many different ways that we could go with this, and I feel like this podcast and just this channel as a whole, I'm doing this for you guys, and so I always want there to be something that you can take away from this. And yeah, I feel like everything that I've been through throughout my life, and specifically the past handful of years, it's been super dense, and I've had a lot of different experiences and things, and I know that all of those things happened for a reason. And if I can be a big sister or just a friend to you, then I would just really love that. And if there's anything that you would like me to discuss, please don't be shy and don't hesitate to comment below or just message me on my Instagram. And written down. I probably should have written down some of the things that I wanted to discuss in this first episode, but it's okay. We're just rolling with it, going with the flow. Just to tell you a couple of the topics that we could possibly talk about and share some insight on. Like, I am interested in the psychology of it all, of the whole dynamic between an empath and a narcissist. That's something that I had no clue about until I was in it. So I think that's really interesting, and I think it's a very prevalent thing in our world. I think that's super important to talk about and to be knowledgeable in, so that you don't end up in one of those situations, because it can happen so easily. And so if I had any of this prior knowledge, then maybe it wouldn't have happened to me. But you know, the fact that I did, and I am where I'm at today, and it's part of my story, and I learned so much through that. Although I wish I didn't have to go through those things, and I would not wish that upon anybody. I'm glad that I'm here today to be able to talk about it, and I would love to share my insight and some of my knowledge through those experiences. Like, maybe you are an empath and you don't even know it, or you could be on the other side of things. I think it's like 1 in 6 people are narcissists. Like, it's pretty scary. So learning what that is and how to avoid it or not be that, you know, it's super important. And just looking inwards, you know, that's something that I also think is super important to talk about. And just self-care, self-love, accountability, healing your inner child, and just things of that sort. And yeah, just like relationship advice, whether that's even just your relationship with yourself, you know, because that's where it all starts. But there's so many different things. Like I said, I'm sure I'm not even thinking of it right now, because there's so many different things that we can really talk about. I'm here for it all. This is also just super exciting because it also gives you guys a chance to be a part of this and have a say, you know. And I'm all ears. I'm all ears, because like I said, I'm doing this for you, and I want to hear, you know, I want to hear from you and from what you would like to hear. I was never really much of a podcast listener until more recently. I started to really get into it, and I think it's super fun, and I love learning. Like, I think we should constantly be learning. Like, I don't know, I love to learn something new every day, and that's something that's really exciting, I think, is that every day we get a new opportunity to learn something, and it could be anything, you know. And I love to just be, you know, at least 1% better than I was yesterday, you know. It's really me versus me, like you versus you. Like, that's how you gotta think of it, because that's how I genuinely feel, you know. Like, I'm not in competition with anybody else but who I was yesterday. And I think that it's a healthy mindset to have, because it's easy to get comfortable and stagnant, and that's not a good place to be, you know. You don't want to get too comfortable. This life, it's all about growth and healing, and that's another thing we can talk about too, is like, we all have different traumas through things that we've experienced through our life, and that's pretty crazy to think about, is whether a person realizes it or not. Every single one of us has our own traumas, and they could look so different from person to person. I never thought, I trust and believe, I never would have thought that I would ever do something like this. Like, I've just always been kind of a private person, and I've never really been much of a social media kind of person. Never really been one to post anything. Like, I don't know. It's not that I'm even like a shy person or anything really. Like, my whole life, people always described me as bubbly, and I never knew what that word meant. Everywhere I went, like if I asked somebody, like, describe me in one word, bubbly, 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 bubbly. I always heard that from many different people, and I was like, bubbly? Like, what even is that? And, ooh, that's another topic too, is, ooh, people will really, there's energy vampires, and they will try to dim your light when you have a bright light surrounding you, and that just magnifies, amplifies, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but radiates off of you, and people see that, they want to take that from you. And I've had people, that's why I don't really have a lot of people in my life, and that can get pretty lonely. But I would rather have nobody than have people that don't have the best intentions for me, because I've gone throughout my life having pure intentions for everyone around me, and when you are that way and you're naive in that, you just assume that everyone else has the same intentions as you, everyone else that you're around, that you just automatically want to give your trust to and love to and confide in. When you think that way, when you are the type of person that has pure intentions, you want to trust and believe that the people that you're around feel the same way towards you. But unfortunately, that is majority of the time not the case, and that's something I've had to learn time and time again. So that's another thing, you know, I would love to share my insight on, because like I said, I genuinely believe I went through these things for a reason, and it is to help other people, because why else, you know, would I just go through all these things just to keep it to myself? Like, what good is that gonna do? Like, we're on this earth to help one another, you know, that's what we're here for, you know. I feel like, I don't know, we live in a weird society where people feel like, you know, it's like we're in a competition, or we need to be against each other. People are always trying to pit people against each other, and it's just a bunch of weirdo nonsense, because we're really put here to love. We are put here to love one another and help one another. I think it's a beautiful thing that I even have this space, this platform, to where I can do that. I think this is also a really healthy and helpful thing for me as well, because it's not good to just like keep everything inside. And I mean, I've done a lot of that. I've done a lot of, I don't know, it's not that I haven't talked about it, but if I can just put all this in one place where it'll just be here, because telling your same traumatic stories, especially when you've been through something really extreme and traumatic, and having to tell it over and over again to people who are just gonna forget about it and the next day, or don't care. Like, if you're watching me right now, I just want to say I love you and thank you, because nobody's forcing you to be here, you know, nobody's forcing you to listen, and you're here because you want to, because you want to listen. And I feel like that's something that I've kind of experienced, where I've told my stories to all these different people, and it just felt like, oh, why did I just do that? Or that felt like want to say aroma, but I don't think that's weird. That's not like the word. But do you know what I mean? Essence. A certain essence. I don't know. There's like new age spirituality, which, no, I'm a lover of Jesus and all things Jesus. And so I think that's important for me to say too. I don't want to push my beliefs onto anybody, and I've never really been one to even talk about my beliefs on social media or anything like that, because I don't want to make any, like I said, this is a safe place, and I don't want anybody to feel, like this is a judgment-free zone, baby. Let's make that clear, okay? Because I know Christianity has a bad rap in general, but we are just meant to love like Jesus, and that's just what I want to do. And every single one of us has our own. Ooh, this is making me emotional. Oh my gosh. First episode introduction, we're getting into it. Ooh. But what was I even saying? Every single person has a past. Literally, nobody's perfect. You live and you learn it. No, but on a real note, like, nobody is perfect. And except for Jesus. I just think that was super important for me to mention because that's my belief, and that's part of my story. That's something that I'm passionate about, and if you believe in him too, then that's something you should be passionate about as well, and I don't really like how everything is, how it's, why talking about it feels almost like taboo, and I don't know why I feel like, I know it's gotta be the enemy putting you, like, getting into my head, because I don't know, I don't like that I have these thoughts that make me feel restricted, and like I can't talk about it like it's something bad, or I'm gonna be judged or something, because honestly, I don't care. Like, I shouldn't care, because I want this to be not only a safe place for you, but also for me as well, to feel comfortable talking about what I believe in, and yeah, my faith is, that's a huge part of who I am, and how I even am where I'm at, because, and that's a lot of what I want to talk about, is my testimony, and, you can't talk about that without talking about the one and only, so, yeah, the whole, like, new age spirituality thing, like, we can talk about that as well, because that's something even I fell into, because, things can be disguised as all love and light, and I think that's something that's very important to be aware of, because a lot of things can be deceiving, and that's something that I feel that I can talk about, because it's something that I've personally fallen into, and social media and everything plays a huge part in it, like what's pushed in front of our faces, and like I said, things that can be disguised as something good, but it's really all bad news, and you're inviting things in that you would never even think of, and so, yeah, I feel like that's something that I would love to talk about as well, because although it's not as prevalent as it was a few years ago, it's still going on, just to give you guys some ideas, and you can ask me further questions, or say, hey, I want to hear more about that, or, because there's a lot. For a while there, I didn't even want to call myself a Christian, because there's so many, like, negative connotations around that, but it's really just, like, the religiousness of it all, which, I don't consider myself religious at all. That's why I consider myself spiritual, but we're all spiritual beings, really. I think there's a lot that I could talk about with that, and I want to share my testimony and the realizations that I've had over time, always been this way. I haven't always believed what I believe now, and I think that would be really cool to share that with you guys. And probably a lot of people can relate to it, and you might be on the other side of things. You might be where I was, and because being raised a certain way and seeing certain things that make you feel like, ooh, I don't want to say too much about it right now because, like I said, I want to make an episode talking about it, and yeah, I'm super excited. Another thing that I would like to talk about on this podcast is also conspiracy theories, but I'm not sure how much I'm actually allowed to talk about, so might have to leave that out, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. I'm not too familiar with like YouTube's guidelines and what they do and don't censor or allow, so yeah, I'm really not sure, but let me know because that's something that I've always kind of been interested in. Dang, well, this was only supposed to be the introduction episode, but hi, I just, dang, we're already getting into it already, I don't know, and I feel like I still have so much more to say, but that's why I'm really glad we're doing this, and I hope this reaches who it needs to, and yeah, like I said, let me know anything, and hopefully we can make it happen, whatever you would like for me to talk about. Like I said, comment down below, let me know what you think, and like if it's something personal that you don't want to comment, then you can message me on my Instagram, and like I said, I want to do polls, and I don't know, so many different things, just any ideas that you have, like I'm here for it.